Hello. Just wanted to do this video. Everyone has been starting to talk about their keepers, so that has me excited for the upcoming league season. And as usual, need to talk about any slight rule changes we want to make early enough so that we can vote on them. And the ones I want to talk about are things that are not earth shattering. And like last season, I'm only going to go for things that I think a good amount of the league would be happy with. So one thing we've talked about a lot is splitting truck into its components. I feel like at least 5 people in the league want this. Um, Again, to repeat the reasons is because it makes differentiating some Ds more interesting or some forwards, and also increases the forward to goalie ratio a bit. So that's something that if people wanted, I would vote yes. The second idea is I think we've been trying to think of different interesting categories like face-offs and everything, but I think the main thing, strategic thing that we can change, make it more interesting, is to focus on what would differentiate defensemen more, because it's kind of pretty obvious. And now the league, at one point, it was just Dan, Jake, and myself getting a lot of the truck Ds for cheap and knowing that they're the best options. But now we've got even Derek with people like Luke Shen 500 truck. It's pretty obvious that there's limited downside to having someone like Luke Shen where he's okay across the board and gives you 500 trucks. So he can win a week by himself, and the guy that you might replace him with isn't that good anyways. And when I looked at the DDHL settings, some of you guys are worried about shots because of rich get richer type of thing. But what we can do if we wanted to reduce that impact is maybe just have shots count for defensemen. So therefore, you have maybe even more of a differentiation. So right now, it's again not that interesting strategically, because what I do with my worst defenseman, as I'm sure you guys have known for a while now, is I just go to D's really with the worst D, and I actually just sort by truck and see who's playing the most games. So maybe breaking a truck up is enough, but adding even another category to consider, like shots, something that like affects defensemen only or gives a more flavor to that, would be great. And I don't think people would be against that. Like other things, like again, giveaway, takeaways, face off might be more towards a specific type of like things might still happen more for forwards than defensemen. So if we can come up with something that's like either strictly or just counts for defensemen, I think it would be a good thing. And lastly, um, I'm losing, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and I still think my idea that I came up with, inspired by DraftKings for outstanding achievement, is good. I think, man, Thunder's really loud. I think we do want outstanding achievements to happen more often. Whereas right now, let's say we have goalies that have like either 3 games each, and they might, with the way they split goalies, they might play one each or 2 games max. And I think like once someone gets a shutout, they're likely to win just because there's just not enough games and there's not enough hat tricks. I do think we want things to happen more often. And so what when I looked at DraftKings and got inspired by it, I think it makes sense to have something like 5 shots have a bonus, 3 block shots, or multi-point games like 3 points, 35 plus saves, things like that. Versus like they're more exciting because, and some of you who don't really sweat the games, like you obviously don't give a shit and don't care. You guys just set up your lineups week to week. But for some of us that watch the games a lot or sweat it with Derek on the live stream, it's like it's a difference between following it like a hat trick. Your guy scores 2, and you're like watching the game hoping he scores the third one or the empty netter. And so all these like accumulative bonuses are actually fine for those of us who sweat live, versus something like, I would say, game winning goals. I love the category because in one sense, because there's enough variance. You can have, for example, a lot of times in our league, someone can have 20 goals but 0 game winning goals. versus and someone who has 5 goals have five game goals and win. So we like that type of variance, but from a live watching standpoint, it's not that interesting. Where if you have a guy that's like winning in a I don't know, like a 4-2 game, and you're basically hoping, instead of focusing on the performance of your player alone, you're also like hoping the other team doesn't score so that he loses his game-winning goal, which makes it kind of like a weird sweating experience. But anyways, just wanted to throw some little thoughts out there. I'm sure Ninot will try to devil advocates me to death, so we'll see. I'll look forward to that.